Hi, and welcome back to another episode of AdCreative.ai Talks with me, Anna, and
I'm too fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about how enterprises can use AI in a secure way. And it's really starting to become mandatory for big companies and enterprises to implement AI in one way or another, but there is still some pushback in terms of doing so in a secure way. And we are proud to claim that, and we are the #1 most used AI tool for advertising. So we, of course, had to tackle this to serve our customers. So could you maybe cover a few things or a few notes on why you think a lot of enterprises and big companies are coming our way now, which is, of course, super exciting.
Yes, it's super exciting. It's a whole different adventure almost, like, to work with enterprises. There's a lot of different learnings, etc. there. What we've seen with enterprises, that clearly enterprises want to work with the best in the market when it comes to whatever they want to do. So clearly they directly find that creative AI. But AI is such a new topic, even more for enterprises, because we've seen that for SMBs, they had to make a difference in their results, in their ad spend, in their ROI, etc. so fast that SMBs were a bit more early adapters. And one of the reasons, of course, that compliance, privacy, etc. is much less of an issue.
It's more of a
compared
speed.
to, of course.
Yeah.
So SMBs were already implementing AI, using AI for their ads, for their ad techs and all that stuff. And when it comes to enterprises, so when they Google, when they checked different review websites, etc., the market, they realize that AdCreative.ai is the #1. So they identify us the first company to go and talk, which is amazing. But since AI is a new topic, there's a lot of questions regarding privacy, regarding security, and usually companies come in with those questions. That is a bit of a process. So I would say that I love the movement happening in the enterprise market. They all want to implement AI. They all realize that AI is the way to go, especially in advertising, for faster asset production or better conversion rates, or there is way more things that actually AdCreative.ai also solves and AI also solves. So they're a bit excited. They know that they need to do it. They even have internal budgets that are already approved for these purposes. But of course, there's so many questions, so many legal stuff to go through it. And that's why a lot of enterprises coming us with a lot of questions and trying to understand how this thing actually works.
I agree. What do you think are 3 things that larger companies or enterprises needs to consider before jumping on a new AI tool for advertising or some sort of generating AI tool?
If I was running an enterprise, I think clearly the very first question that you need to be considering is it the right tool? So I'm going to go to privacy, compliance. These are extremely important. But I think the #1 is this the right tool? And that's one of the things that we play a lot on AdCreative.ai, because AdCreative.ai is an all-in-one tool. And when it comes to AI products, if you have 5 different AI products, 5 different compliance checkups, there's so much to do. There's 5x work to do. That's why I think when it comes to AI, all-in-one products makes even more sense. So the very first question is this an all-in-one product, or do I need to get 4 other products to be able to get the output I'm looking for? Because especially in advertising, you need to generate a background, do a small edit, bring it to an ad creative, from there to somewhere else. And if you have different products for all of that, it's just going to be first a lot harder your team to onboard, and on top of privacy and compliance is going to be an issue. So #1, is this the right tool? And if it is the right tool, the second thing that I would go is, okay, how does the privacy works? Because enterprise companies clearly have this data that in many cases is their moat. It's what makes them super special, and it's also their vulnerable area. And when it comes to AI, you share a lot of details. You share your marketing budget, target audience, when you're going to go after, what you're going to generate, etc. So the second thing is privacy, and how we tackle that privacy is when we work with an AdCreative.ai enterprise program. So if you have an enterprise account, what we do is that we create a completely new instance for you on our servers. You can almost think of a different server just for you. So you get this learning from all our users and everything that we've ever learned in advertising. You get this data, but it's just one way, which means your data never leaves your instance. So it's extremely secure. And on top of that, if we call one is privacy and security, which is how we do it, it's a completely different instance for you that is super secure and that just is active during your contract. And if it ever you stop your contract for some reason, everything in the server is completely gone. So there's absolutely no trace of data. And the third one, clearly, would be the IP and ownership. So you generate a lot of visuals, you may go spend millions after it, you may even stop with AdCreative.ai a couple of years later for some reason, and you still have those visuals running from a couple of years ago. What happens to all of that? And how we tackle that is that when we do an enterprise contract on AdCreative.ai, every single visual text, whatever you generate out of AdCreative.ai, when you take it out of the platform, it belongs to you fully. So we give a full ownership, including the commercial right, which means that after that visual, it's yours. You never have to worry. You never have to do an agreement with us or anything like that, which means when a visual is generated, it's not rented to you or it's not kind of given to you for a short period of time, but it's actually fully yours. And that's the third thing that is super important. When you generate something, who does it belong to? And in this case, it's you. And I think if I need to add just one thing, I guess that would be, where is this data coming from? Because you're a huge company, you made or some kind of print or some kind of a big meta campaign, Google campaign, and you generated some beautiful looking images. But what if somebody sues you 1 week later saying that, hey, this image is actually generated, but it used my art, you use this art in your data set. That can happen. And in this case, AdCreative.ai, what it does is that we have a hard proof of all the visuals that are used to train this AI model was actually commercially free images. So if anybody comes in, we have a hard proof showing that that's not the case. And the second thing, we do another thing that no other company does right now, is that we do a commercial check on every image that is generated. So when you generate something on AdCreative.ai, there's another AI model we built called Commercial Checker AI. And what it does is that it checks if an image is commercially safe. And we can check trademarks, we check trademarks, logos, any other thing that could be a trademark and can give you an issue. And we do that super well, that even if your team for some reason accidentally, I don't know, made a small, another product or mentioned competitor's name or something, we directly catch that and tell you that it's not commercially safe. So that's even a second layer of product protection on top of that dataset protection that we have. So those are kind of, now it became a 4 reason, but at least those are the 4 things that every enterprise needs to keep in mind before choosing an AI product.
It was more than okay to throw in a 4th one there. Yeah. And my next question was actually going to be, what makes AdCreative.ai the secure option? But I feel like you kind of dived into that.
I could talk about this topic hours, so I kind of answered that. But yeah, so those topics are extremely important. And that's why we didn't want to react to those topics. We were super proactive on those. So we knew that privacy is going to be important. We knew that all of that data set proving the fact that these are commercially free images were all important. That's why from the first day of building AdCreative.ai, we were always cautious about, okay, how can we make sure that when an enterprise lands, when an enterprise actually starts using AdCreative.ai, they would have this smooth process, if like in the next 10 years, whatever they're going to use us. That's why since the beginning, that was in mind. AdCreative.ai is almost an enterprise-ready platform since the first day.
Yeah, and we're getting better and better as we go.
Absolutely.
So if we bring it a little bit back down a little bit now, we covered things very high level, like what's important in terms of security, etc. What are some features in the app that are just on spot for an enterprise and that can really bring value today within AdCreative.ai?
I think there's a lot of stuff that can bring value, but
you can pick 3 this time.
Yeah, okay.
Tops.
Let me pick 3 this time. The ones that I see a lot enterprise using is, I think number 1 is the stock image. Stock image is used a lot, not necessarily because, they were paying a lot to stock image companies and then they don't want to pay. That's not necessarily the case. That's what everybody thinks about. But actually, those enterprises have already long-term contracts with those stock images and they will need those stock images here and there.
Yeah.
But what more they're looking at on AdCreative.ai stock image AI is 2 things. Number 1 is, okay, we have a very specific campaign. And if your very specific campaign requires a very specific image, and that could be, I don't know, since we're in Paris, let's say it's a pink Eiffel Tower, well, you cannot get that out of any stock images, right? So you need to generate something super specific. And enterprise companies always have some project where the content was always a bottleneck. They sometimes had to change the idea of the campaign just because they couldn't find the stock image or the right image, or they had to go and do a big photo shoot and that costed them so much money.
Time
as well. So basically, number 1 is freedom. They can generate whatever they want in a matter of seconds, sometimes under a second. So that's cool. And the second thing is this commercially safe part. Since our AI is actually trained with commercially free images, and then after we do the check, well, they have this peace of mind that they can generate something take out of the platform. So download the image and go ahead and launch some campaign. So stock image I see it a lot for product companies. Product photo shoot AI is I think one of the biggest value propositions, because what happened with the product photo shoot is that those companies were sometimes even getting the product but not putting on the market because they didn't have the photo shoot. So there was even some time that the products are in the warehouse, but they don't sell it because they're waiting for the photo shoot to happen in 4 weeks, and they were selling. So they were literally losing 4 weeks. That's just one of the examples. The other one is that A/B testing in a product photo shoot is super hard. Like, you're gonna get the professionals, do a photo shoot, test it. Guys, it didn't work. Let's do it again. And that's, I mean, you can do it once or twice, but you cannot do this continuous basis.
No.
So that's the second thing, product photo shoot AI for product companies. And now there is something that we're testing just with some of our enterprise companies, as you know, is our fashion photo shoot AI.
Yeah.
And fashion photo shoot is exactly like the product photo shoot companies, but it just, if they're in fashion, that's literally it, because they have this thing called ghost photography. So it's literally a white background image of the visuals. And I mean, whatever you buy online these days, you never see anymore those white background images. Everybody wants to put these lifestyle images because, like, the hard data shows that lifestyle images of fashion products
I want to
actually
sell the vision and the feeling.
Exactly. And they sell way better.
Yeah.
And there is some studies, like we're talking about 93% or something higher than a just white background, because they can imagine themselves in that photo. And the same thing, they order the product, comes from wherever country that they produce a product, and it's in the warehouses ready to ship, but it's not on the website. So 3, 4, 5 weeks, they don't actually sell it. They're waiting for the photo shoot. But now you have it, even if it is you use AdCreative.ai for that 5 weeks delay for each product, they're actually making so much money just out of that period. And thanks to AdCreative.ai, they can A/B test now, which is amazing. Try a different photo shoot, doesn't work. Change the model, different work. Just change the background, change whatever you want to change in that composition. But that gives you this chance of A/B testing. And I would say that those 3 are amazing. And now that we have AdLM and that is trained with so much data, I'm pretty sure that in just a matter of days, AdLM is going to be one of the most favorite products of enterprise as well.
I believe so as well.
Yeah.
And as we all know, everything in AI is moving extremely quick.
Yeah.
And I think that in this company, I feel like we move in the speed of lightning every day. However, could you maybe share one feature that is on the horizon and that our users can expect to see soon?
Absolutely. I think there's 2 features. One, I think
You're always adding an extra one.
Yeah, no, that one I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
So what I want to do is that I want to keep one secret that's going to be as big as AdLM. It's going to make a lot of noise. But what is, I think, super interesting, what is coming up is custom templates, because what we've seen with a lot of enterprises, what we've seen with a lot of companies with super, let's say, precise branding details, are like they have to be super specific. What we've done is that we brought our AI that knows what works on the market, and we let them build their own template. So whatever application they use, could be Adobe XD or whatever, they literally have an interface like that where they build their design, and our AI is recommending them what they need to do, such as, hey, put your logo on the left side, because we've seen it from the last Mother's Day campaign, let's say, the creatives you had on the logo left side perform better, etc. So our AI is recommending that. So they're already making a high conversion rate template, and then they're allowing rest of their team to become almost like graphic designers, where they can just go in there in a matter of seconds, change the text, and even localize to different languages, etc. So basically this custom templates value proposition is extremely important, because it basically, your designer makes a design once, and then you can produce thousands of it without a single hour of that designer's time. And it's perfectly on brand because it's coming from your designer. It's high conversion rate because our AI helped your designer while designing that creative. And then you can produce thousands of that visual in different markets, different creatives, different products on that image, in just like this creative automation way.
And then we have the AdLM on top of that as well. So we don't really need a copywriter in there either.
Not at all. And even different languages, because it can write over 30 languages. So that, I think that is one feature that is already growing super fast. And I know that for especially companies that the branding is extremely important. They have very strict brand guidelines. That feature is going to be one of the most popular ones.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of grounds today, and that was everything for this episode. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Not so much. If you haven't followed us, make sure to do so. And
Yeah.
if you're not a user yet, you know that you have 7 days free trial, 10 free credits. And if you're an enterprise, you can write to Anne@AdCreative.ai or Tufan@AdCreative.ai, and we're going to answer you super fast.
Exactly. And thank you so much for listening, and we see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.